first reason as to why we have to protect is just to prove who the owner is. Just that. That is the first basic reason as to why we protect.
We are mandated to advise government on regulation of research in Uganda, mainly science and technology.
All medical device innovations should have evidence of safety and efficacy.
We send these standards to different stakeholders across the entire world.
My name is Christopher Ddamulira. I work with the Uganda National Council of Science and Technology. I'm a senior scientist in charge of health and medical sciences research. We are mandated to advise government on regulation of research in Uganda, mainly science and technology. The Act gives us mandate as a clearinghouse on research and experimental developments taking place in all institutions. And that's why in the current mandate, within the NDP 3, National Development Plan 3, and which will be ending in 2 years, government has given us a mandate to develop policies and guidelines to make sure that we are able to register all innovations in this country, and also to register, to develop frameworks, to be able also to register all research institutions in Uganda, for us to be able to be accountable to government. We have guidelines for research in human participants, and all these guidelines actually are accessible on the website. We have also guidelines for research in animals. We have biobanking guidelines, and these are very important because you may develop a device, and maybe you want to experiment it on samples which are stored in a biobank. So that means we should be able to go through some of these guidelines to understand the framework on which we can do research on devices when we are actually using stored samples in those biobanks. Also, there is the National Biotechnology and Biosafety Policy. And also, we work with NDA, the NDA guidelines for conduct of clinical trials in Uganda, and also the international guidance. International Organization for Good Clinical Practice, the CIOMS, and also the AVALEF, WHO. These are the partners we use in research regulatory oversight. These are the requirements for non-academic research. You pay $300 to Uganda National Council of Science and Technology as clearance fees. For academics, and I know most of these centers you have students. For foreign students, it's $300. For Uganda and East African students, they pay $50 only. It doesn't matter whether it's a PhD, a master's, or undergraduate. We look at the turnaround time, 10 working days. That's why when you make your submission to Uganda National Council on Science and Technology, and you count 10 working days, if you don't receive a feedback from us, it's better you call. In most cases, we may find, because we are dealing with IT systems, there may be something went wrong in the system during application. But that is our average turnaround time. In case 10 days exit, it's important always to give us a call. These are some of the ethical considerations. We normally start with the methods. We are happy that this fellow, you are a scientist. But this medical device, sometimes people write to us and they have nothing, nothing written. but someone wants to register with Uganda National Council of Science and Technology. And in most cases, we guide them because we want you to write the methods. Because we want the product to go through rigorous research for scientific validity and also ethical validity. So these are some of the questions we ask. Is the study really necessary? What about the design? Is it scientifically valid and practically visible? Is the population you want to test with, is it appropriate and justifiable? If you want to do it within maybe the vulnerable populations, is it justifiable? You don't have any alternative population you can do such a study. Does the study have scientific power to definitely test the hypothesis? It is science, but partly it is ethics. The risk-benefit analysis. Will the study improve healthcare provisions and well-being of the participants? And how are the risks will be minimized? You see all those, some of that information actually is very important to be in a study monitoring plan. When we look at the informed consent process, is it appropriately? How will the informed consent be documented? And normally the national guidelines for research involving human participants, they stipulate all what should be in informed consent forms for protecting the participants. Will the participants be adequately compensated? Will adequate care be provided? In most cases, researchers we are interested on the findings, and we are compromising on the welfare of the participants, because we think maybe the products are going to benefit them. Because someone really leaves their home to come to your site, there is no transport, you don't give them even lunch. But at the end of the day, you are going to publish these results and you are going to register these pundits. I know the pundits are going to end up somewhere helping the participants, but you need also to adequately compensate them. For them to be able to come for the study site, they are able, because if you don't compensate them well, actually you'll get a lot of lost follow-up. The issues to do with privacy and confidentiality, they should be well catered for. We have clearly now we need data sharing and transfer agreements. And we have tried to give the key elements that would be also in that. And within that data sharing and transfer agreement, actually, if you have already registered for patent and trademarks, some of those actually, we should highlight on them on how they should be shared between the parties involved. Who owns what in that process? And in that process, we are looking at our experts, URSB. We shall engage them and agree on how to streamline some of these processes. Actually, NDA regulates on, in their statutory instrument, they regulate surgical instruments and appliances. And there are just a few examples. So what we do, what normally we do as a council, once the researchers actually write to NDA and the NDA doesn't regulate that, we always actually write back to the Ministry of Health. And in the Ministry of Health, they have that National Advisory Committee on medical equipment through the Director General. So once we get that approval from the Director General, in case that device is not yet registered in Uganda, then we give our final clearance. Looking at the importance of registering research, we are saying it's the right thing to do ethically. To conduct research responsibly. Also, we want to make sure that you generate evidence that will inform policy and knowledge generation. An example, if your research didn't go through the regulatory ethical approvals, then how are you going to register the innovation? in case we are through with that framework and the policy for registration, how are you going to register? In case your institution has been registered as a research institution in Uganda, how, when we come to monitor what you do, how can you explain that non-compliance to national standards in case you don't go through the ethical processes? It also helps us to avoid duplication of research. Actually, some researchers actually write to us to check for them if some of those studies have not been done. But in most cases, when you see researcher writing like that, in most cases behind, they're expecting maybe someone has duplicated their work, and they want to find out whether National Council is aware. And also we are saying we want you to ensure compliance with the national guidelines, which we normally do through monitoring. Uganda National Council does not provide retrospective approvals. Like you design your device, you go and do research informally, and then you want to publish your findings and you want to come to council. We shall tell you discard all that data. We are not in that business. In most cases, actually, we tell you discard the data, and that is it. Because we are not a part of the process. But sometimes researchers actually what they do, some of them what they do, they revise the protocol as if they are writing, as if they are trying to write the protocol or the proposal afresh when actually they already have the results. In conclusion, developed and fast developing countries have used the science, technology, engineering, and innovation to meet their healthcare needs of the citizens. And the development, adoption, and transfer and commercialization of these medical devices and innovators will equip healthcare providers with tools to perform their work effectively and efficiently. And this will help us to improve the quality of life of Ugandans. So you are doing a very great, commendable job for helping relevant regulators to improve ethics and regulation for medical devices in this country. And we are proud of the center for that and spearheading that.